Welcome to AI Decoded, where knowledge prepares us for the future. If you would like to support our channel, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Because today, a new scramble for resources is underway. It is a silent, invisible conquest. The resource being plundered is not gold or rubber or oil. It is data. And the colonial powers of the 21st century are not nations with armies and flags, but corporations with algorithms and clouds. This is the story of algorithmic colonialism, the story of how the gift of AI is creating a new world order, divided not just between the rich and the poor, but between the data-rich and the data-exploited. It would struggle to understand different languages, different accents, different cultures. It wouldn't recognize crops grown in tropical climates or diseases that are prevalent in other parts of the world. For an AI to be truly global, it needs global data. It needs our data, all of it. And this is where the dynamic begins to shift. The data from developing nations is a treasure trove. It represents billions of people, hundreds of languages, and countless unique contexts that are absent from the Western Internet. Urging an immediate visit to a clinic. A life may have just been saved. These are the images of progress we are shown. Artificial intelligence, deployed as a force for good. A powerful ally for the developing world, a tool of empowerment, a gift from the global north to the global south. But look closer. Look past the immediate benefit. Ask the questions that are not being answered. Who owns the image of that maize leaf? Who owns the sound of that child's cough? Where does that data go after the diagnosis is made? For an AI company aiming to build a model that can serve a global market of 8 billion people, access to this data is not a luxury. It is a strategic necessity. It is the key competitive advantage. So they come bearing gifts. Free apps for farmers, subsidized healthcare tools for clinics, smart city infrastructure for governments, and with every use, these tools perform a second, unstated function. They act as a sophisticated data harvesting pipeline. To understand this new form of colonialism, you must first understand the nature of modern artificial intelligence. Today's most powerful AI models are not explicitly programmed. They learn. They are fed colossal amounts of information, and from that information, they develop an understanding of the world. The more diverse and comprehensive the data, the more powerful, accurate, and valuable the AI becomes. An AI trained only on data from North America and Europe would be brittle and biased. Local problems are solved, yes. But the raw material, the data, is extracted, processed, and used to create immense economic value, and that value does not flow back to the communities that produced it. It flows back to the headquarters of the tech titans. The benefit for the local user is temporary and specific. The benefit for the corporation is permanent and strategic. It is a one-way transaction dressed up as aid. Consider the phenomenon of ghost work. All over the world, but concentrated in the global south, millions of low-wage workers sit in front of screens, performing the tedious tasks essential for training AI. They are the people who draw boxes around images to teach an AI what a car is. They are the people who transcribe audio, label medical scans, and review toxic content to teach an AI what not to say. Algorithmic colonialism, the data exploitation of developing nations. In the rolling hills of Kenya, a smartphone camera scans a row of maize. An AI application, a gift from a Silicon Valley giant, analyzes the leaves for signs of disease. The diagnosis is instant, the advice on treatment clear and effective. The farmer sees a miracle, a promise of a better harvest. In a remote village in India, a community health worker uses a tablet loaded with a sophisticated diagnostic tool. It listens to a child's cough, analyzes the sound, and flags a potential case of pneumonia. The image of the diseased maize leaf is sent back to a server in California, where it helps the AI learn to better identify crop blight. The recording of the child's cough is sent to a data center in Virginia, where it refines an algorithm for respiratory analysis. The traffic patterns from a city in Nigeria, collected by donated smart city sensors, are used to improve a logistics model that will be sold for billions to global shipping companies. Think of an AI system used to screen loan applications. If it was trained on decades of data from the United States, it learns that a stable job history, a high credit score, and certain types of collateral are indicators of creditworthiness. Now, deploy that same AI in a community in Southeast Asia where the economy is more informal, where people rely on community lending, have fluctuating incomes from seasonal work, and don't have traditional credit histories. This reveals a critical gap between the sovereignty of the state and the dignity of the individual. The concept of data dignity argues that individuals and communities should have ownership and control over the data they generate. It asserts that this data has value and that they should have a stake in the wealth created from it. They are paid pennies per task. Their labor is invisible, uncredited, and stripped of context. A worker in the Philippines might spend their day labeling images of street signs from Ohio. A worker in India might be categorizing financial transactions from Germany. They are digital factory workers, assembling the components of an AI they will never own, for a global corporation they will never interact with, creating a product whose profits they will never share in. This is not just data extraction. It is labor extraction on a global scale. It is the digital equivalent of the colonial-era plantation, hidden behind a clean corporate interface. The consequences of this new colonialism extend far beyond economics. They are cultural. They are societal. When an AI model is built and trained primarily by one culture, it inherently adopts the values, biases, and blind spots of that culture. And when that AI is deployed globally, it begins to impose those values on others. Right now, they have none. Worse, many are unknowingly part of the supply chain that makes this extraction possible. We hear about AI, and we picture brilliant engineers and gleaming data centers. We don't picture the hidden human workforce that powers it. The promise of AI for the developing world is undeniably immense. It can bring efficiency to agriculture, expertise to medicine, and opportunity to education. But a gift with hidden strings is not a gift, it is a transaction. And right now, it is a deeply unequal one. We are at a historical inflection point. The architecture of the 21st century global economy is being built right now on a foundation of data. If we continue on our current path, we are not building a more equal world. The battle for algorithmic justice and data dignity is the defining human rights struggle of our time. It is a fight to determine whether our digital selves will be our own, or whether we will simply become ghosts in a machine that we do not control, do not own, and do not understand. The new scramble is on. The question is whether this time, its outcome will be any different. We are building a high-tech feudalism, a world of data lords and data serfs, a world where a handful of corporations in a few powerful countries own the intelligence of humanity, while the rest of us are reduced to being the raw material that fuels their systems. They could demand payment for access to their data. They could mandate that any AI models intended for use in their region must be trained and hosted locally, using local talent. They could demand a share of the profits generated from their citizens' information. This is a radical idea, and it will be fiercely resisted. But it is the logical endpoint of this struggle. If data is the new oil, then the countries that produce it will, sooner or later, demand their share of the revenue. The age of free, frictionless data extraction may be coming to an end. The African Union is a key example. It is currently developing a continent-wide data policy framework. The goal is to harmonize data governance rules across its member states, creating a unified front. The framework aims to promote a single digital market within Africa, for Africa. The message is clear. Our data is our resource, and we will set the terms for its use. This could lead to a future of data coalitions. Imagine a bloc of Southeast Asian nations or a group of Latin American countries bargaining collectively with big tech. To the most data. The United States exports its model of algorithmic colonialism through its corporate champions, Google, Microsoft, Meta. They offer cutting-edge services, advanced cloud infrastructure, and a narrative of open global partnership. They wire up hospitals, schools, and businesses. And in doing so, they integrate these institutions into the American technological ecosystem. The data flows back to U.S. data centers, strengthening U.S. models and entrenching a dependency on U.S. technology. Developing nations are caught in the middle of this superpower rivalry. They are offered technology and investment from both sides, but the choice is often not between independence and dependence, but simply between which empire they wish to become a digital colony of. Will their data flow to servers in Virginia or to servers in Guangzhou? Either way, it flows away from them. A government in Africa might receive a state-of-the-art urban monitoring system. It helps them manage traffic and reduce crime, but it also provides a massive, continuous stream of data, facial recognition data, license plate data, movement patterns, that flows back to Chinese companies. This not only helps them refine their surveillance technology, which they can then sell to other countries, but it also aligns the host nation with China's tech stack and its vision of governance. But the story does not have to end here. A backlash is beginning to stir. A growing awareness is dawning across the developing world that data is a strategic national resource, just like any other. We are starting to see the first signs of a new form of resource nationalism, this time for the digital age. Leaders are beginning to talk not just about data sovereignty, but about data justice. They are asking why the value of their nation's data is being extracted with nothing offered in return but a few free apps. This initiative runs parallel to its Belt and Road Infrastructure project. Chinese companies, with the backing of the state, build digital infrastructure for nations across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. They build 5G networks. They build government data centers. They build safe cities equipped with advanced surveillance technology. China pursues a different, more state-directed strategy, primarily through its Digital Silk Road. They are designed to solve the last century's problem. Algorithmic colonialism operates on a different level. It doesn't need to permanently store your data in a foreign country to extract its value. It just needs to learn from it. Once the AI model has ingested the information and adjusted its parameters, the lesson is learned. The value has been extracted, the model is now more powerful, and the original data can even be discarded. Thanks for watching AI Decoded. Like, share, and subscribe for more insights every week. See you in the next one.